bucket hats in the audience. This is wonderful. We're going to keep this panel pretty casual, just have a conversation. We are all a part of SheFi, and we'll get started. For those of you who don't know what SheFi is, SheFi empowers professional women and non-binary folks to reinvent their careers in Web3. So today I'm joined by 3 SheFi members, and I, Maggie Love, and the founder of SheFi. I'll let them do quick introductions, and we're going to talk about the program, their own professional journeys, what they're up to now. And I'm going to try to keep my voice throughout this panel. Zainab?
Good morning, everyone. It's Zainab. I'm currently marketing and growth specialist at Clay, the main wallet sponsor of this year. And I have been in SheFi since the cohort 7. And now it's been almost 1 year for me that I'm also contributing the community as a Turkey chapter lead. And it's so amazing to be here at this panel right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle. I'm head of marketing at Octant. We are a project started by Golem Foundation. We've staked 100,000 ETH, and the rewards go to public goods and grants funding. And we give out grant funding every 90 days. And I'm on the Grants Council for Worring Foundation, GG20 for Gitcoin's Grants Council, and on Arbitrim's Oversight Council for Think. That's their grants program by Plurality Labs. And also the co-author of the State of Web3 grants report that came out last year. And I was part of cohort 7 at SheFi.
Hey everyone, I'm Jules. I am the founder of Enzo Collective. It's basically the quest platform that we launched for the SheFi Summit, and it's all about bringing off-chain actions and providing you proof through socials. I was part of cohort 7 as well.
I did not plan that.
I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I have been helping Maggie organize the SheFi Summits. Absolutely love it. Love meeting so many of you guys. This is my 3rd ETH Denver. So very special to be here and happy to see all some familiar faces.
Yes, all cohort 7, lucky number 7. So I wanted to learn a bit more about your journey before joining Web3 and SheFi. So if you could kind of tell us a bit more what that was like and what compelled you to join a program like SheFi.
Okay, I can start. I was in the Web3 like since 2020, but like I joined SheFi like 2022, like between those milestones in my life. Before joining SheFi, I already know some basics, but my main motivation to join SheFi was actually learn more from the professionals and also the community, which is also super crucial for individuals that community engagement and like community learning helps us to comprehend the topics or the fundamentals more easy from my experience. And also I didn't have that much friends in Web3 as a woman friends, what I mean, because it's just still a bit male dominant ecosystem. And after I joined SheFi, I met hundreds of women maybe all around the world, and this is my 6th Ethereum conference in 1 year, I guess. And I have been touring with all of my SheFi women friends so far, and it's just so nice to see each other in different cities and get together with the SheFi roof and do many activities. I can say that briefly, I think.
I love that. My journey, where did it start? I'd say so I've got a security background, so I did have a technical background in security, but I ended up becoming a founder. I was a media founder for a couple of years and had a very Web 2 startup founder journey. And it was at the end of it was actually in 2021 when NFTs started popping, and I felt like there was so much happening, but a lot of it I couldn't understand, and the culture side of it, and the language, and it felt like a lot of what I knew technically wasn't really what people were interested in or were talking about. So it kind of felt like I didn't really know where to go. And it was my partner, actually, who told me about SheFi and said, I think you should join this program. So I joined SheFi, and I was part of DEF CON Scholars. Those were the 2 programs that really got me into the space, I'd say. And a lot of it was just getting comfortable with asking silly questions, I guess. And just like that walkthrough of like just being able to understand the tech better from a lens that helped my understanding. Like that was super cool. Getting into the technical side was also just really fun to be able to nerd out. And yeah, I don't know. I love my SheFi experience. I think it really helped to have a lot of other folks who are learning and having like a very diverse range of people in terms of experience and how new they were to the space. And there's so much about the culture side that you can't understand unless you've got a community around you. So that's how I started. Then I went into DAOing into the space, and then that was a whole different journey, I'd say, as well. But yeah, that's how I got into this space. And it was quite different because back in 2015, we were giving Bitcoin workshops, and I was part of that experience. But I guess only college students were stupid enough to, give workshops on Bitcoin and not put any money into it. So there is that. But yeah, I'd say like SheFi has still been one of my favorite communities because, so I am the Dubai chapter lead and the Middle East lead, I guess, in some ways. But there's so much about the space that's so fast-paced, and so being able to still attend a lot of different sessions with each cohort, I still randomly pop in when I see something that's interesting, and seeing a lot of different projects share more about what they're working on really helps me stay up to date around what's happening in this space, and I'd say like feel a little bit less overwhelmed.
Yeah, so I had a very interesting story because I used to work as a VC investor in Web2, and I would work with 4 men consistently hating on crypto. They would look at the news, they would read LinkedIn, and they were like, wow, this is just so fake. And I remember that day, and I was like, wow, I'm really curious. And this was in 2020. And I started traveling around with my sister, who was very deeply involved in the space. And I basically went to every crypto conference that I could. And I remember going to my first ETH Denver, and literally there was not one woman in the room. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, where am I gonna make friends? And I then basically, I remember I was sitting there, and it was like 1 year of traveling to a ton of different conferences. And my partner, who mentioned Maggie, was like, oh, I think you should join this program. It's a bunch of women. They're all trying to gather information, learn about things. They have meetups at every event. And he mentioned to join. So I applied. And then I remember I met Maggie for the first time at DevCon. And she threw this incredible happy hour. I don't know, were any of you there? Chance? No? Okay. Well, you guys were all there, yeah. And I remember like talking to her and saying, we should do this more. Like, this is so much fun. It's so great to gather a bunch of women together, just get insight, feel comfortable at these conferences, because a lot of times we walk in and maybe we don't feel always like the best feeling of just going and talking to random strangers, right? I feel like that's not always the most comfortable thing. And I remember at DevCon, I felt so comfortable, made so many friends, and came back with this energy that I can't even describe. And I told Maggie, okay, let's do another one. Like, I would love to help and organize another one. So I helped organize ETH SF. I don't know if any of you were there, but I organized, and I think like 70 women came, and I felt so ecstatic because I was like, wow, this is great. Like, I just posted a Luma invite, and a bunch of people came, and it was incredible. But yeah, that was a little bit of my journey into the space.
A couple of things I want to pull on there is thank you to all our male allies and partners that know about SheFi and recommend their partners take it. That's really helpful, and it's really how we grow. So we do want to give a shout out to men for knowing SheFi and recommending it. Something else is there will be a DevCon in Bangkok this year, and I believe they probably will have a scholars program. So you should be on the lookout for that because it's really impactful, and we'll make sure the SheFi community knows about it. And the last thing I want to pull on there is this idea of like these women joining SheFi and then being the Turkey lead or the Dubai lead or coming up to me and being like, I want to throw an event in SF in the name of SheFi and I just want to help out. And that's a really impactful part of SheFi is so many opportunities have come to the community, have come to me through our members. And it's really fun to just continue to grow our impact by helping each other and it not being like a one-to-many relationship, but really a many-to-many relationship. So It's been like an incredible part of SheFi to witness. Something else I want to ask is, you've all kind of shared what you're doing now, but how did being in the SheFi program give you confidence to get that job, or how did it facilitate what you're doing now?
I can start again. I think one of the most nice things about SheFi is SheFi encourages you to ask questions publicly because, like not in our community, but we also try to create a space in Web3 for women and non-binary people that feel encouraged to ask questions and not, for example, like not be shy about not knowing anything, like maybe technical stuff, but that could be related any, I don't know, Web3 thing in general. And after I joining SheFi, I felt that I feel more empowered in this community because it also helps me to gain more encouraged to speak publicly because like last year I attended 5 different Ethereum events, including ETHCC, ETHCon, and I was the youngest speaker at all of them. Maybe I am the youngest speaker at ETH Denver too. Like I'm just 23 right now, and like before SheFi, it was just I don't know, like it's a huge thing for me, but right now I feel more empowered to talk about my journey to inspire more young women like me, still students or like still trying to learn more things in Web3, and I don't feel inadequate in this ecosystem because if you are, I mean, really young in this ecosystem, most of us are already graduated from the good universities or like have more technical background than me, but like I am still learning, and all of these amazing women and the ecosystem we are trying to create makes me feel like you are doing your best. And this is also a kind of a contribution, like whether you don't have any technical background, that doesn't matter. You can still add something, add your flour to the meal, and like encourage the other people or like talk about your journey to inspire them and join the I don't know, not only SheFi but in Web3. For example, like after I became Turkey chapter lead, we were 10 people, 10 women in Turkey that who is a SheFi member, but right now we are almost 100 and like
Amazing.
almost
Yeah.
She's a wonderful advocate. It's amazing.
Thank you. And like almost all of us are still university students, but like they are all trying to find a job in Web3. Most of them like writing newsletters, like contributing DAOs, and like this is also like thanks to you actually. Like you are all invited, all of us. And like one thing I also wanted to mention is SheFi Scholar Program because maybe most of you know the economical situation of Turkey, which I wasn't able to like purchase the SheFi like how can I say that membership as a student, but like thanks to the scholarship program, like not only me but most of the women all around the world are able to join this community and like also learn more about the things without I mean not only paying things but also like learning from the professionals like you.
I mean, I really loved how thorough, I'd say, you were in terms of really explaining things, right? That was super helpful. But in terms of the job hunt, like last year was tough, I think, for a lot of people in terms of layoffs and things like that. And I loved how, I'd say, I think you're maybe one of 2 people that I personally know where you were legit individually recommending so many people to different job opportunities. And there are a lot of folks from different companies who specifically want to hire SheFi folks who've gone through the SheFi program, and especially I'd say like a lot of opportunities that come to the community first before they're also publicized. And so that was really, really great because there were a lot of conversation starters and interviews that I was able to have because of that when I was job hunting essentially, and that was quite a tough period as well. So to feel like there was a supportive community, there were a couple of other really supportive SheFi members as well, like Jamie, who's the Chicago lead, legit was sending me opportunities and discords and different communities where I'm like, hey, this could be a cool role for you, and just like so supportive. And it can be really tiring to to feel like you're alone in this, and I think there's a point where you might feel like you're not good enough, and maybe like the issue is like me versus, just like what the landscape is like. And so I'd say especially during those moments, it was so helpful to have that like community support. And then a lot of the council opportunities. So the Rari Foundation Council, I applied because it was on the Discord and SheFi, and I hit up, I'm forgetting her name, I'm so sorry.
Yana.
Yana, yes. And so she sent a message saying anyone can ask questions. And the cool thing is folks don't just post opportunities. They actually really want to engage and are there to answer questions and anything else around, because they really do want to support the community and members in the SheFi community. So I think that was really helpful as well. And yeah, I remember even with the Arbitrum Council, there's a few, Fiends is on that council, and you're one of the first people who like you were tagging everybody and just being like, hey, like this could be good. Let's have some SheFi members on on different councils. And so that was really, really helpful as well, because I think a lot of times it's not that opportunities aren't there, but we just don't know where they exist online, right? And so I think even if you're chronically online on Twitter or Farcaster or whatever app you're on now, it's still like having someone just remind you sometimes can be the biggest difference.
Yeah, so just going back on like supportive community, when I was younger, I had the biggest fear of talking in public, but I knew I wanted to build something and I really wanted to be a founder. I remember telling my mom, I was like, I don't think any of these jobs fit me and I was like, I never wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to own my own business and just have the power to create something for myself. So I remember when I first joined SheFi, I was a newly founder and thinking about, okay, what can I actually build in this space? And I think the most important thing to note, right, being a founder in this space is very difficult. There's not a ton of community you can reach out to. But when I joined the SheFi community, it was almost like I could ask a bunch of questions. People would give me the feedback I needed, but also the support, right? A lot of these guys here, are incredible investors, incredible people, but at times it's daunting. So I thought about when I joined first SheFi, what an incredible way to be able to test new products, get the feedback you need, and then also network, right? This whole ecosystem is all about networking. That's why we're all here today, and we're making the effort to come early morning to network.
And vibe.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it's an incredible experience, and having a supportive community is what drives your growth, and not only personal, but also in career-wise as well.
Yeah, I really loved all of those answers and like focusing on that power of community. Now that SheFi is going to be about 2,700 women, and as Michelle said earlier, there's like all ranges of members. So some people who already know a lot about Web3 want to join because they want to be able to share their expertise or their network or their jobs. So you're really getting exposure to the whole ecosystem. Even our male allies are always making sure that we see jobs and are running accelerators and grants programs, and they really want to make sure like the SheFi community is included. And that's really nice that we've been able as a community to build this brand that people know if they come to the community, they're going to source amazing women that actually really want to contribute to this space. And we focus a lot on that in the program. It's not just about onboarding. That's wonderful, and we need to onboard the masses. But SheFi is really about creating contributors to the space, people who are actively shaping the technology, the programs that we are getting involved in. So if you're like, I don't know if I need another course, you should definitely consider just joining for the community. And we do have paid, but we also have tons of scholarships, thanks to Zirion, who is our partner for season 10. Another question I wanted to ask was, based on your experiences now in Web3 and in SheFi, what is like a piece of advice or something you think a newcomer should know before entering this space?
Entering the space and also SheFi, right? Okay. I would highly recommend to everyone to ask questions freely, because Maggie, every week after the courses, Maggie also like organize office hours, but that was the name was different. I forgot this right now, but she answers your question about the lectures that you just took like 1 or 2 days ago. And also there's Guide and Light program in SheFi that if you are experiencing Web3, that you could be Guide and Light and answer the questions the other fellow SheFiers, where you can like, don't don't need to be hesitated to ask questions or learn more about it. And also, that might be the, I mean, my second advice would be the travel maybe as much as you can, because like there are bunch of different communities that provide travel scholarships. Like I mean, as SheFi helped a couple of talent protocol. How can I say that? Members from the SheFi community, that most of them went to ECC Paris last year, which was super nice because we had an opportunity to get together, and like the other, I mean, foundations, like people also help to like, I mean, help to their academics. So, like, I mean, as Jules also said that networking is super crucial in this ecosystem. Maybe I could also advise to like tour out around the world as much as you can, maybe.
I'd say be chronically online. Be on Twitter, be on Discord, Farcaster. I don't know, Blue Sky, people are still using it. I'm sure people are. And really spend a lot of time understanding the culture, understanding, I'd say give before you take, right? So before you have asks, actually spend time looking at what people are talking about, what they're interested in, try to understand context. Do put an effort, and I think there are easier ways to grow if you do that. Spend time on governance forums. Look at the conversations that are happening. There's so many people just within the last 6 months who've grown so strongly in their profiles just because they've been so vocal and have asked a lot of questions and added a lot of intentionality with the kind of questions they're asking. And there's still a lot of space for that. The second thing would be events. Of course, don't go to events, but I do think there's this pressure to attend like a million things within a span of 4 to 5 days. And I don't think it's realistic. I mean, I'm introverted. Maybe y'all are super extroverted, but for me, I'll go to 3 events, and my goal is, you know what? I'll have 3 conversations that aren't just like, I can't do small talk. So it's going to be longer conversations, but I'm okay with that. And 3 people who you've actually had better conversations with versus like 20 people who you have no context around. For me, like the 3 people approach just works better. And it's just more sustainable just for my own energy as well. And it's okay to take a little bit of time to figure out what your space is. I'd say up until end of last year, I felt like the space wasn't for me, even though I was part of so many different supportive communities and part of so many different DAOs and was an active contributor in a bunch of them. But it wasn't until I'd say like Istanbul, Eat Singapore, like these 2 events that really changed a lot in terms of how I felt. And so realizing that like I love the public good space for me, the grand space, like really being able to understand it deeply, that helped me figure out where I wanted to be, and like I figured out my space. So it's okay to take time to figure out what space is going to be yours and what you feel comfortable with and you're super happy in and interested in and intrigued in. And to want to learn more. I think curiosity gets you really far in this space. And so if you keep an open mind, it's going to be super helpful. And then there's so many people that are going to be more than willing to answer questions. So even if it's a silly question, I mean, you can always DM me and reach me on any channel, but I can say that for a lot of people because that's what I would do, is just ask questions sometimes around specific things in different communities. And so many community members and ambassadors who are so helpful and generous with their time. So don't be afraid to do that. And I think that really does help and go far.
Yeah, I think agreeing to all of those things, being curious in this space is super important because there's so many emerging technologies. There's probably a new technology that is existing every day on Twitter that you're like, oh my God, what is this? Now I have to learn this. But it's actually great, right? It's very important to take risk in this ecosystem, right? But also understand your social capital. Coming to these events and booking yourself for 10 different events, sometimes you get home and you're like, I don't even remember all the conversations I had. I didn't keep track of anything. And then at the end of the day, you're so exhausted for the next day that you don't have that social capital to be able to take it and be realistic with yourself. So I always say, like in this space, be uncomfortable, get ready for it. It's great. It's a time of growth too. You understand a little bit more about yourself that maybe you didn't in the past year. And just from my experience, the last year was very hard. And last year was, I would say, very different from what we felt already this week, especially hopefully bull market vibes. But
Don't say the B word.
I can tell you, like, when things get rough, just don't give up. You know, there are so many resources that SheFi provides, and leverage the brand, right? Leverage SheFi's name. Go to these events. Be proud that you're part of SheFi. Network with people. Tell them about your experience because they understand it as well. We all started here at one point, and I think that it's an incredible brand to leverage.
Totally. And we do really focus on whether it's education or partnering with Gitcoin or Octant with Michelle to give grant funding to some of these founders who are building things that maybe VCs like don't get, and getting them through that extra 3 months of runway to build that thing that finally is ready to get invested in is so critical. And once again, these opportunities come through the community we've built. And I definitely agree to events. They're really powerful. There's something about synchronicity that really creates human connection and this trust between humans that we cannot figure out in asynchronous communication. So while it's good to be on Twitter, it's good to be everywhere, you have to be online, you're not gonna have the same impact unless you're in a synchronistic situation with another person. I learned that from a Huberman podcast, so it must be true. But I think you can actually feel that, and that's why you're all here. So definitely take time to meet people. And then if you see me at an event and you're like, oh, I really wanna talk to this person, just, I'll do it. So reach out to me, and I'm sure you could reach out to any of your fellow SheFi members. Don't be shy to ask for things. If you see someone that you see a SheFi member talking to, just be like, hey, I've been wanting to meet this person. Like, please introduce me. Oh, like in the Discord, hey, I've been wanting to talk to somebody at this company. Please introduce me. Or when the Arbitrum DAO Council had they like tweeted, like, nominate people. I was like, every woman in SheFi, go nominate yourself now. And I think there's like 20 women now on that council, and that's like massive. The ENS DAO, we love ENS DAO, started a bit earlier, and like 2020, they have like only Simona on their council, right? So as these new opportunities are coming up, they are coming to SheFi, and if you leverage that network in that community, in person, on the internet, it will definitely work out for you, even if it takes some time. Okay, besides SheFi, what are some of your favorite resources in this space for like staying up to date and learning?
Like for maybe deeper reading, Ethereum.org is an amazing resources by Ethereum Foundation, and like for maybe daily newsletters, I mean to stay updated, I also recommend Boys Club's newsletter though. It's also like funny and comprehensive most of the time, and Bankless maybe. I also like follow Bankless newsletters and SheFi newsletter for sure.
I've got a few favorite newsletters. I do love the SheFi one, but I also really like Seed Club. I'm a big fan of Forefront. I think they're great. Project Glitch is a new one that has started a couple months ago, and they've been doing really well. Web3 with T-Pan, where he breaks down different what's happening in the industry and just in different spaces in a way that's super accessible and helps you stay up to date. So those are really helpful. And then there's a bunch of different Telegram groups that a bunch of these communities have started where people are often sharing articles and a lot of updates there too. So I think those are often my go-to. I like longer format reading, so I enjoy the newsletter format quite a bit. The Bankless DAO newsletters used to be great until the Bankless Publishing project got shut down. But I think they're still sending out newsletters from the DAO, so those are helpful too. And then the Bankless newsletter, I think sometimes is one that I do read. And yeah, those are my go-to.
Yeah, I definitely agree to all of those. Newsletters are amazing. Boys Club, Seed Club, anything on consumer if you guys are founders or if you're looking to start something or try a new app. I also agree on most of all of these conferences are actually streamed on YouTube. And I think it's such a great resource to go back and look at the old streamings. I think it's an incredible resource because you can see maybe a company or protocol that is now maybe very, very famous, but where they started, right? And then learn and get understanding of like, what did they first talk about and what has changed from now? So I love just analyzing or hyper-analyzing a little bit more videos. But also, if you can't make it to a conference, like you shouldn't feel the FOMO, right? Like do your research, do your work. There is so many resources out there. And also like people are always open to talking online. If you message someone on Twitter or on Farcaster or on Lens, those are huge resources, And what I mentioned before, like leverage the brand. Say, like introduce what you're doing in the space or that you're new. Be open to that vulnerability because I think it's also very, very important.
Just to add on, there's another one that's amazing. It's called Collective DAO Archives. And they're some of the best if you want to look at how a lot of DAOs have evolved in different ecosystems. And they've got documentation to like, you can legit find everything in terms of how they've evolved and they still keep them updated. So those have been amazing in terms of just like that knowledge. Yeah, I'd say almost like, yeah, it's like a mine of gold.
Amazing. Okay, we're out of time, but where can people find you?
At the clay booth, the other venue, we are literally in the entrance and next to Biddle Shop. And like if you, I don't know, maybe not only onboarding the clay, but also want to buy something at Biddle Shop, you can come find me. We can talk about my SheFi experience and also like how you can purchase free merch at Biddle Shop.
Amazing.
I'm on Twitter, Arlery, Arlery. So you can message me there. On Telegram, I'm Mashal, Mashalw, Mashal W. So yeah, hit me up on either places, but I'm more active on Twitter, so please feel free to DM me there. Or if you just search my name on LinkedIn, Instagram, any of the socials, I'm also active everywhere. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm super active on Telegram. It's sometimes great, sometimes a problem. It's Jules, so JULESSW. Feel free to reach out for anything. If you need help on, if you're a female founder, you're looking to get your first investment. If you're looking to organize your first event and need just experience in that, or if you're looking for sponsorship money for an event, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to always help. Yeah, just message me.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. All of your stories are very inspiring, and I'm so grateful you're all part of the community. If you want to find SheFi on Twitter, it's at she__fi. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.